I ran into an insufferably arrogant man on a blind date. To get rid of him, I blurted out that I was pregnant with my boss's baby. What I didn't know, my boss and his colleague were sitting right behind me. I stumbled in shock. "B-boss?" He glanced at me coolly. "Careful. Don't stress the baby." Me. Question: should I resign immediately or drop to my knees and apologize? My mum had been on some kind of mission lately, collecting information about the most ridiculous men from our relatives and forcing me to go on blind dates with them. This weekend alone, I'd already met with 3 of them. "I hope you'll quit your job and focus on preparing for pregnancy. Miss Lynn, I make $8,000 a month. And as long as we're frugal and you don't act like those materialistic women who waste money on clothes, shoes, bags, and makeup, we'll have more than enough to get by." I stared at the balding, delusional man across from me, my smile frozen on my face as he droned on for the past 15 minutes. If he hadn't been introduced by a relative, I would have ripped that hairpiece off his head and slapped him with it. Oh, and my work keeps me pretty busy. So let's skip the big wedding. It's just a formality anyway. A college buddy of mine just opened a photography studio. We can get our wedding photos done there. That'll save us a lot of unnecessary expense. What's wrong? My sudden dry heave finally made him stop talking. "Are you feeling sick?" I hesitated. "It's not that ... Is the food here not clean?" "There's something I should tell you. I'm pregnant." "What?" Behind me, I heard a sudden movement. The man across from me shot to his feet in shock. "You're pregnant and you're still going on blind dates?" I put on my best tragic expression. I didn't have a choice. "The baby's actually my boss's." Someone coughed behind me. I didn't pay attention, fully committed to my performance. I never thought he'd be such a jerk. As soon as he found out I was pregnant, he dumped me and forced me to get an abortion. What could I do? He's a powerful CEO. How could I fight back? The balding man was too stunned to speak. I took a strategic sip of water and looked at him pitifully. "Mr. Kim, since you want to marry me, you'd be willing to accept the baby too, right? Your mom's desperate for a grandchild. Here's one ready-made for her." Light laughter came from behind me. The man in front of me visibly panicked. "No, that's not. Miss Lynn, your mom never mentioned you were pregnant. You can't just hide something this huge. That's not right. My mom doesn't know. Please don't tell her." "Miss Lynn, I don't think we're compatible." He grabbed his bag to leave. I stood up, pretending to stop him. "Why not? You just said we'd get married next week." His expression darkened with disgust. "Miss Lynn, I heard you work as a secretary at a big company. I thought you were different, pure and respectable. I never imagined your private life would be so messy. Pregnant out of wedlock. Our family would never accept a woman like you." I watched him leave with fake hurt on my face before I could let my smile break free. I turned around and locked eyes with a pair of inscrutable dark eyes. I stumbled, my whole body freezing. A chill ran down my spine. "B-boss? God, could someone please tell me why my boss was sitting at the table right behind me? How long had he been there? Had he heard everything?" He raised an eyebrow. "Unhurried. Careful. Don't stress the baby." He really had heard. I wanted to cry. I was just considering whether to drop to my knees and apologize when the person sitting across from him turned around. "Hey, Miss Lynn." I nearly fainted with my eyes wide open. It was Mark. I was screwed. Mark was notorious for being a gossip. If he heard everything, the whole company would know by tomorrow. No, I had to explain immediately. "Director Young, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just joking around. Don't overthink it. Mr. Knight and I have absolutely nothing going on. Please don't spread this around the office." Mark looked at me with sympathy, then shot Simon a look like he was the world's biggest scumbag. "Oh, I get it." "Get what?" He looked pointedly at my stomach. "I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Director Young, I'm really not pregnant." "Miss Lynn, don't stand around. It's bad for the baby. Come sit." "Me? I already told you I'm not pregnant. Why won't this man believe me?" I reluctantly turned to explain to Simon. "Boss, it's fine. Sit." "That's not what I meant." "What?" He smiled. His smile made me uneasy, especially since I'd just been caught doing something wrong. Never mind. Not daring to disobey. I was about to carefully sit next to Mark when he stopped me. "Someone's sitting here. Sit next to Simon." "Someone?" I looked at Simon hesitantly. Come on. His smile sent chills down my spine. Simon was the type to hold grudges. He was probably plotting some revenge right now. Reluctantly, I took the seat. He poured me a glass of water, just as I reached for it. He pulled it away. Oh, I forgot this is cold. You can't drink cold water when you're pregnant. Huh? My eyes went wide with alarm. What was he saying? Don't look at me like that, or people will think I really don't want this baby. Mark gasped dramatically, his eyes gleaming with the excitement of fresh gossip. When did you two? Before he could finish, we heard something crash to the floor nearby. I looked over. Victoria. What was she doing here? Had she heard everything? Great. I'd heard that Simon and Victoria were childhood friends, practically engaged by their families. Did this make me a homewrecker? Finally. You're always late, Mark complained teasingly. Victoria's smile looked strained. Miss Lynn is here too. She walked over gracefully and sat in the only empty seat next to Mark. Why didn't you tell me Miss Lynn would be here? I glanced at Simon, who clearly had no intention of explaining, to avoid any misunderstanding. I spoke up. I was here for a blind date today. I just happened to run into them. A blind date? She looked surprised. Yeah, I'm at that age. My family's pushing me to get married. As I spoke, I felt a cold presence emanating from beside me. That sharp gaze made me inexplicably nervous. I fidgeted, looking for something to drink. You're so beautiful and capable. Miss Lynn, I'm sure your dates go well. They're okay, though I have to see to more later. I'd made myself crystal clear. Please don't misunderstand, I live an honest, law-abiding life. I would never intentionally interfere in anyone's relationship. She gave me an odd look, then glanced at Simon. After a moment, she laughed lightly and asked tentatively, I just heard you mention a baby. What was that about? I immediately distanced myself. Mr. Knight and I were just joking. There's no baby. Simon calmly handed me a drink, some kind of beverage. I was surprised he'd noticed my earlier fidgeting. I was thirsty anyway, so I took it without thinking and drank. What I didn't expect was that I naturally dislike sweet things, and this drink was sickeningly sweet. I couldn't help but gag a few times. The two across from me jumped in alarm. Are you okay? I forced down the urge to vomit and waved my hand. I'm fine. Mark seemed to realize something, his expression shifting from panic to teasing. Miss Lynn, you really need to watch your diet from now on. Simon helpfully patted my back. Is it too sour? He looked resigned. I told you to stop drinking so many sour drinks lately. You never listen. I looked at him in confusion. When did I? Just as I was about to protest, my eyes landed on the coffee spoon by his hand. I froze. Suddenly, I understood. That drink had tasted suspiciously sugary. He'd dumped all the sugar into it. This petty man. Was he really going to hold a grudge over me using him as an excuse? What's wrong? Your face is all red. Are you hot? He looked innocent. I was grinding my teeth in frustration. But he was my boss, and I had been talking behind his back. He was petty, so getting a little revenge was expected. Fine, I'd let it go. I'm fine. My smile didn't reach my eyes. Mark's gossipy eyes looked ready to pop out of his head. You too. You've been hiding this so well. All these years at the company. And I never suspected a thing. I decided to give up on explaining and just smiled shyly. Victoria was still here. I wanted to see how he'd explain this to her. I've always kept my personal and professional lives separate. Huh? I stared at him in disbelief. What was going on with Simon today? Had he been possessed? I'd known him for 5 years. While I knew he liked to mess with people, he usually had boundaries. What was different today? Maybe sensing my confusion, Simon leaned over and whispered in my ear. I don't want Victoria to have any illusions about me. Help me get rid of her, and I'll forgive what you did earlier. I was shocked. How am I supposed to do that? You're my secretary. Can't you handle this small task without me holding your hand? Or has pregnancy really made you stupid? I was speechless. Meanwhile, the two across from us were staring intently at us, whispering. Victoria's expression had grown even worse. After a moment of internal debate, I decided to protect my career. I suddenly slapped Simon's shoulder, and before he could react, I leaned against him with an exaggeratedly shy expression. Oh. Stop. Why did you tell them ... I felt Simon stiffen and shoot me a dark look. Mark looked like he was choking, his expression horrified. I wanted to die. My dignity was completely destroyed. But I'd already started. So I might as well commit fully. Yes. We did have a baby. I looked heroically resigned, not daring to check anyone's expressions, so I also missed Simon's slight smirk. Victoria had gone pale, her hand shaking as she held her cup. But I lost it. I paused, then added with fake concern. It wasn't his fault. I was careless. Perfect. That had just the right tone of suspicious cover-up. Simon tilted his head, watching me with amusement. Feeling guilty, I quickly changed the subject. Director Young. Victoria, since we work together, I hope you can keep our relationship confidential. Relationship? Mark's voice cracked. What's wrong? Nothing. Mark swallowed hard. I have to go. Victoria finally couldn't take it anymore. As she stood up, she kept glancing at Simon, probably waiting for him to stop her. But Simon acted like he didn't notice. He just looked down at me tenderly. Babe, should I drive you home later? Babe? Who was he trying to gross out?